was once a term coined for a dance to jazz music, became a phenomena for Western culture and media to represent the grim and never-ending dead ends of working for capitalist economies. And it shows a world where we are in endless pursuit to come out on top, in pursuit of money, status, and power. It's quicksand, and the longer you spend in it, the deeper you sink. Imagine you're a rat. Whatever external factors that motivate you, that's your cheese in this world. Maybe you want a yacht, maybe you want a nice house, or maybe you're saving up for a BBL. You might think it's these factors that excite you so much, that once you reach those mammoth end goals, then you'll reach fulfillment. And maybe for a little, but not for long. What Harvard researchers have found is that craving for money activates the same sections of your brain that crave coke or sex. We can't control our greed. A statement issued by one of the CEOs of the top leading banks following the financial crash of 2008. Now, although tone deaf, he was not wrong. The neurochemistry of our brain is wired to make us chase things that make us feel good. There are two sides to pleasure. There's seeking experiences that give us euphoria, and seeking experiences that dull or avoid pain. And this can commonly be seen in alcoholics. This chemical is like a high-performance sports car. If done right, it can give us such intense motivation and desire and produce spectacular results. But if it breaks down, it can give us a deep sense of unfulfillment. It is the reason that those who are most likely to afford a beach house are least likely to enjoy it. It's dopamine. Now, us humans have about 86 billion neurons in the brain. The chemicals that allow for the function and regulation of neurons are called neurotransmitters. These tree-shaped sections are dendrites, and they receive external signals that then transport from the sending neuron through the axon, to the receiving neuron. The name for this process is called the action potential. Now, zooming in, the bit the two neurons meet and gossip with each other is called the synaptic cleft. And here, the sending neuron releases packets of dopamine, neurotransmitters, into the cleft, where dopamine receptors on the receiving neuron welcome the signal with open arms. This gangster neurotransmitter is most famous for being responsible for desire, motivation, and motor control. Let's say you have a crazy crush on someone. You stalk their socials, you find their birth records, you find the time they were born to see if you're astrologically compatible. You know the drill. That crazy level of obsession and chase for euphoria is linked to the effects of dopamine. Dopamine isn't the pleasure itself. Is the anticipation of pleasure. The reason that we chase it so much is really simple. It makes us feel really freaking good. So how does this neurotransmitter get into our bodies and make us go bananas? Well, you probably guessed, it's bananas. One of these nutrients in these breakfast favorites is an amino acid called tyrosine. Tyrosine hydroxylase converts the tyrosine into dopamine. There are four major dopamine pathways in the body. There's the mesocortical, the nigrostriatal, tuberoinfundibular. The mesolimbic, which is the one we're going to focus on, is associated with dopamine's most common function, pleasure and reward. Studies done on gamblers show that how close we get to reward is actually what signals the dopamine. Brain scans have shown that near misses stimulate just as much activity as if they actually won, which is exactly what makes them keep trying again and again. The scariest effect of dopamine has to be dopamine overload. When you're exposed to such high amounts that you become desensitized, you literally feel nothing.
They ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
I've watched a TED Talk recently that shows an instance with this with Buzz Aldrin, one of the most famous people alongside Neil Armstrong, who landed on the moon. When he comes back to Earth and people are excited, they're asking you, how did it feel to go to the moon? He replied with, look, we don't know what we were feeling. We weren't feeling anything. Following with, fighter pilots don't have emotions. Walking on the moon was just something we did. Now we've done it, we should do something else.
And though I can hide my cold gaze, and you can shake my hand and feel flesh gripping yours, and maybe you can even sense our lifestyles are probably comparable, I simply am not there.
You see, the same hormone that boosted him to the moon is the exact same thing that brought him spinning back down. After the moon landing, Buzz Aldrin became an alcoholic. He wedded and divorced 2 women, and his state got so bad that he spun out of control. He had to be admitted to a psychiatric unit. He's fortunately now recovered and is doing well. But what his story tells us is how important a dopamine detox can be to maintaining stability. We were born with a love for power because back in the day, and you can debate even now, is what guarantees our survival. Dopamine has been around for a very long time. It is found on all animals, including you. Us humans have 3 times more dopamine than any other organism because over time we've had to be more aggressive and more competitive in order to survive. This same hormone that can make you scroll TikTok for endless hours is the same drug that made us hunt down a bear. If you can learn how to take over your mind, you can take over the world. And so here are 3 simple reasons why you should consider a dopamine detox. Increased attention span. The less time you spend on any activities that give you a quick dopamine hit, the more time you have to get bored. Now, this is a good thing because if you actually give your brain the time and peace to just get bored, you start to focus longer on your work. I've personally tried this. Because I know there's some activities that induce my dopamine levels, such as TikTok, I've had to delete it. I set myself the goal for working 9 hours every day on weekdays, just for revision since this exam season. And so far, I feel better. I do a lot more in the day. I go to the gym every day. And I can honestly say it's because I'm consciously making the effort of reducing things that just give me that quick hit. Puts you out of your comfort zone. The more you venture outside of your comfort box, the more confident you become and the more exciting and easier life starts to get. Increases your imagination. Now that you have all the free time in the world, you can spend more time on creating. The brain starts to bring a new stream of ideas and ultimately increase your creativity. Ultimately, dopamine is a very powerful sports car, a tool that we can use to live a life we love. Since it also creates desire and motivation, learning how to manage it is very important to achieving our goals. Whether you want the money, the power, or you have a deep calling to have a positive impact on the world, chasing highs might not get you there, but most certainly building on another D in your life will. Discipline. But don't just take my word for it, because apparently it's even biblical.